Welcome to Reality of the Rose with your host, Natalie Sprink.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 208 of Reality of the Rose. I'm your host, Natalie Sprink. I almost was going to say welcome to 2026 because I wanted to say that too. That's why I hesitated, if you noticed. So also welcome to 2026. I'm actually really glad to be back. I say actually, like as if I wouldn't be, but I've missed coming on here, even just talking to myself, to you, but to myself. I had intentions of getting in an episode during the holidays, but I'm sorry that did not happen. As you all know, they're just how it is during the holidays. There wasn't enough time. Allie was here for 3 weeks, and I thought we would even get an episode, but we just didn't. It was a great holidays. On today's episode, what I plan to talk about is a little about 2025 and the holidays, a little about 2026, and some personal outlooks on the year, but then also get into a little bit of reality TV and what I'm looking forward to, sort of show wise, podcast wise, all of that stuff. So I'm going to kind of cover a little bit of everything this episode. So if you're familiar with my podcast, you know that probably means I'm going to be very random and I'm going to be jumping from one thing to another. I'll try to stay organized, but I'm organized. In reality, I'm not organized. But when I'm talking to you and thoughts just pop into this brain, it becomes a little kind of crazy sometimes. So so 2025, overall for me, it was a good year. I didn't have any personal issues that really brought me down, any like traumatic events or anything completely major. One thing that really hurt me though through my friend is I did have a friend who lost her son, who was like Allie's age. This friend and I are the same age, and she lost her son who was like a year older than Allie, so like 26, in a tragic way, very unexpectedly. It was her only child, and I think about her every day, pray for her every day, and it was just really tough, and she's obviously really struggled, and so I think about her all the time and just how her life is now changed. So, via her, I've had my aunt had a stroke in December and is still recovering from that. So that was a bit difficult. And my mom is still having some mobility issues. So, I've got some things in my life that, I'm concerned with and that my heart is heavy about. But overall, it was a really good year for me and my family. We had some really high notes. Like, as I talked about in the last podcast, I'm going to be a grandma this year. So we found out that Matthew and Kenzie are having a baby. So that was a lot of fun. And that's very exciting. We found out that Jared and Maddie, my oldest son, and his girlfriend are now engaged. They got engaged and will be married in 2026. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Becky, who's been on the podcast, and Lydia, who's also been on the podcast, and we talked a little bit about that. She's getting married this year, so that will be a lot of fun. There's a lot of things to look forward to in 2026, so very anxious for that. I'm one that does make resolutions, and typically they're always kind of the same, and typically I adhere to them for the most part, but this year, the things that I'm sort of looking and hoping to do and accomplish in 2026 are kind of a little bit different. Actually, first I want to say, because I'm filming this, and I feel like the last like 5 or 6 episodes I've recorded on the weekends, and I like didn't shower, didn't put makeup on, just had t-shirts on. I'm finally like looking halfway decent. Actually, I work today, so I actually look presentable, and I actually have a little makeup left on, and my hair's not, you know, like pulled back in a ponytail and whatever. Anyway, so maybe I can do more of that, so I'm a little bit tolerable to look at, um, which kind of ties into a little bit to some of the things I'm talking about. So one thing that I'm determined to do well on, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, but it's been a while, and it is that I am going to determined to stop my trichotillomania. If you're not familiar with trichotillomania and you don't know what it is, trichotillomania is when you pull out your hair, whether it be your eyelashes, your eyebrows, the hair on your head. Those are the three most common. And I don't do it on my head, but I have pulled out my eyelashes and eyebrows since college. I literally remember I was started when I was a sophomore in college, and I did it while I was studying, and I would just pull and pull and pull, and I can't. And it's become a disease, I guess you would say, and I can't stop doing it. It's similar, I guess, to biting your nails, but I have invested in eyelash growth serums for, I mean, a very long 20 years probably. Started with Latisse, and I'm still actually using it. They have made us so much money off of me because I have to just keep using it because they grow. It works for sure. Latisse works really good. I also use Babe Lash. I am going to try Squirrel Lash. I think that's how you pronounce it. I bought some of that recently. But the problem is I need to use it. I need to let it have my lashes grow, and I need then to not pull them out so I can start using these serums more sparingly. But what I do is they grow, they look pretty. I stop pulling for a while, but then I start at it again and they come out, and then I have I'm looking into the screen. I know there's no way you're going to be able to see this, but I have big gaps in my eyelashes. Even still now, I've been pretty good for 2 weeks, but I used to have big, like, bare spots here in my eyebrow. I'm pretty good about not plucking out my eyebrows or pulling out my eyebrows anymore. I don't really do that. It's mainly my eyelashes, but I think I really screwed my eyebrows up from doing that. But anyway, I'm determined to stop that. And I actually ChatGPT'd it. Why do I have such a problem saying ChatGPT? I think it's because I want to say ChatGPT. It just comes out ChatGPT, but it's not ChatGPT. It's GPT, whatever. So I asked Chat about it, and she told me that she knew right away what it was, trichotillomania, but she asked me different questions, which led her to give me the answer that my trichotillomania is not due to stress, but it's more due to when I'm thinking about something and my mind is like, ooh, she's thinking about something else. She's distracted. I'm going to start pulling. So, like, for instance, the times when I most pull is if I'm on the phone, when I'm watching TV, or when I'm like thinking about how I want to compose a text or how I want to compose an email, or thinking about like my state of mind is there, and I start pulling. And so it's like a thought invoked trichotillomania. And so I just have to become very much more conscious of when I am in those states. So it recommended that I get a fidget toy. And I've heard that before, and I've gotten fidget toys before, but they weren't very good. And I also didn't really stand by it. And so I found this one, and I found it on Etsy, and it's so interesting because it's a little crocheted. If you're watching, then you can see it. But if you're not, it's a little crocheted circle, hectagon, octagon, and there is space in between where there's a marble stuck. And so if you're watching, you can see me, I'm like pushing the marble through the little circle, and it just goes round and round and round, and you just keep pushing the marble through the circle, and it just is just kind of satisfying, and you just kind of want to keep doing it. I really liked this one, so I got a second one of these because the trick is I'm going to keep one at work, I'm going to keep one in my purse, I'm going to keep one in my car, I'm going to keep one at home, and have one kind of anywhere. They're very inexpensive. I think this was only like $8 or $9. And then I got this one, which is a it's like I'm going to try to describe it for those of you who are watching. You can see it, what it is, but it's a little spring. It's got kind of a spring with it, but that the spring is intertwined with, almost looks like a plastic bracelet, and it just like folds within itself over and over and over. And the only thing I don't like about this one is with this one, I can use one hand to push the marble through, and so like I can be doing something with my other hand and I can do this with one. This one is not, you can't really do it as well with one hand as you can with two. So different places, different. I'm spending a lot of time on this. And then I ordered another one that I'm going to be getting soon, but I am really determined to try and stop this because I love when I see people with long eyelashes, and I don't know, I just don't want to wear fake eyelashes. People have asked me that a million times. I'm just not into them. I don't want to bother with putting them on. I have other stuff I really would rather spend my money on. So I don't like Botox. I don't want to be putting on lashes, like permanent lashes. I don't know. I want them to be real. So I'm just not interested in fake lashes, and I want mine to grow and I want mine to be pretty. So I'm on this road to recovery. Okay. So help me with that. I don't know how you're supposed to help me, but send me words of encouragement. Right. And I've really been doing very well since I've gotten these fidget toys, which has been about only 2 weeks now. And I've said that before. Sometimes I've gone 3 or 4 weeks without pulling, and then I start again. So I don't want to speak too soon, but yeah. So that's one of my goals, that I'm going to have these long, beautiful lashes by the end of 2026, and I will be out of the habit of pulling. It's so hard though, because when I start, I don't want to stop. And I know it's probably not for those who have it. It's so relatable, but for everybody else, it's probably like, what? But what, why? And the weird thing is when I pull out an eyelash, then I roll it between my two fingers, and that's satisfying for me for some reason, the feel of that eyelash. And so I wish I could find something that was as thin as an eyelash that I could just roll between my fingers. I don't know what that is, Net. I've looked and I can't find anything. So if you hear of anything or think of anything, let me know. But that's another thing I do. And I don't know, it's so satisfying, and I just want to do it. And as soon as I do it, I get so pissed off at myself, but then I just do it again. So I'm just not going to do it. Okay. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I think I noticed in 2025 more than ever my changing body when it comes to my age. Truth be told, I never have really had a problem with weight. I've always eaten fairly healthy, but when it comes down to it, I could really kind of eat, for the most part, what I wanted. I've never been a person that every day would just, binge hard. I usually give myself a cheat day, or I always have in the past. And that would be like when I'd let myself eat whatever the hell I wanted and however much. So I've always been really good about what I've eaten. But truth be told, I never had to eliminate sweets or alcohol or bread or anything like that. I could just eat whatever I wanted to. So I'm very lucky in that respect. And I think I got my dad's genes for the most part when it comes to that. But I have really noticed, and I'm blaming it on menopause, that my body just does not have the metabolism it used to. And I love sweets, and I love my cookies, and I love my crumble. But I've been able to tell in the last year that my body just has completely changed. And I've always worked out. I've always ran. I've always been a runner. And I've always, done other exercising too, like weights, and I've done lots of core work and stuff. And so I feel like I've really kept very fit throughout most of my life. Well, I've not changed that at all. I still work out every single day, just like I always have. I pretty much keep the same diet, but I'm just softer. And I don't really know how else to say it because I know I'm not fat. I'm not going to say I'm fat and people go, oh, give me a break. You're not fat. I'm not fat, but I definitely have gone up 2 jean sizes in the past couple years. I know if I would weigh it myself, which I really don't, I would be heavier. And I'm just one of those people that is conscious of it. I'm sorry. I just am. And so it really bothers me to look in the mirror and to see like a softness. I feel like I do sit-ups freaking every day. Why is my stomach used to like look like, it was fit and like not six pack necessarily, but kind of. And now it just looks like butter. I don't know. It just, ugh, it just is all this, it's just soft and, it can grab a lot of skin and it annoys the shit out of me. And I don't really know what else to do. So I think because it's going to be a healthier thing too, I really, really think that sweets might be my problem. And I'm going to try to reduce my sweets intake, not my sugar, because I'm not going to go all crazy on myself and like watch the sugar in the labels. And, if bread has so much sugar, and I know just about everything, it seems just about has sugar in it. At least processed foods, which I like. But like, I'm not going to watch my natural sugars and fruits and stuff, but sweets is what I need to watch because I am just, I guess can't stop eating sweets. So I'm really, really going to try and do better with that and see if that helps any. I may just have to accept it that I am 54, going to be 55 in February. And that's just like how my body is. And I don't have the money to get a trainer and to like, be Jennifer Aniston, who she's my age and seems to still have the body she did, 20 years ago. And so, but anyway, that's been really difficult for me. And as superficial and vain as that might sound, it's just not, I don't like it. And I don't really like when I look in the mirror and I see how completely different my body is and that I have to buy a bigger jean size. I don't like it. So yeah, I'm going to work both to like on my sweets and just like moderation in portion sizes and things and not get carried away when I open a bag of chips and I can't stop eating, like those kind of things I used to be able to do and I would feel crappy, but it wouldn't change anything. I would still look the same. So I'm going to try that. I am decided that I'm going to read the Bible again. I, started listening to this podcast called Spirit Outspoken. And it was really funny the way I came about listening to it. It just popped up on my feed. I really don't know why, because I don't have a big feed that is like a lot about, I have Christian stuff on my feed, but anyway, this popped up at just the right time because I have been like thinking a lot about just my my spirituality and my relationship with God. And I have a very, very, I feel like very close and good relationship with God. And, but just some things in society that just don't feel right to me and feel like I don't really want to get real deep into this, but because it's probably controversial and it probably could be, you could probably have a whole, I could start a new podcast on this topic, but instead I'll just listen to Spirit Outspoken. But I want to read the Bible, but I want to read it with intention. And I want to read it and, take from it what I take from it. How do I want to say this? I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't want to read it with a closed mind or with a narrow mind or with an intention that is what is kind of status quo for you to believe about the Bible. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but I want to read it with intentions of like, how it people always argue that it does not, like, you can't change the Bible to modern times because it's what taught us back in those times, and it's too like convenient for us to change it to like 2026 now, and that you can't just do that. Like, I've always heard that, you can't just modernize the Bible to what you want it to say and conform it to the things you want to believe. But then but then that's said about certain things. But then when you read the Bible, there are certain things in the Bible that I certainly hope have changed over the years and is not just acceptable. And one example I'm going to bring up is this blew my mind. Never learned this in school or Sunday school, but if you know the Bible at all, the in Genesis they talk about Lot, and often you think about Lot with Sodom and Gomorrah, and so I didn't know this, that after Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed and Lot's wife looked back, and you weren't supposed to, God said, don't look back or you will be turned into a grain of salt. And she did, though. She couldn't stand it, and she looked back, and she did. So it was just Lot, but he had 2 daughters, too. So after all that happened, Lot and his daughters went and lived up in a cave in a mountain somewhere. And it was just them living there. And so the daughters were like, there's like no men around here, or they're a long way away. And we want to be able to like have our own children and carry on our name. And so they both decided that they were going to get their dad drunk. And so they got Lot drunk and they slept with him, and they both got pregnant, and they had his children. So I was like, wait, what? I had to read it like 3 times. It's wild, and I get it was a different time, but I feel like it's still back even then. That wasn't necessarily a cool thing to do. But what was the weird part is it wasn't like, and God condemned them and said, you shouldn't sleep with your dad. It said like, it just was like, and whatever, I can't remember the daughter's name, but daughter one's name was Moab, and the other daughter's name was Amaricus, or I don't know, something like that. And Moab became the head of the Moabites, and it was just like the end, and it's so weird for me. And there's like a lot of things like that and I'm not saying that I fully embrace the Bible, and it is fully God's word, and we are, we get to the New Testament, we learn about Jesus and what Jesus taught us, and I'm fully on board with Jesus' teachings and all of that. I'm just saying that like those kinds of things, we can't like just pick the things that we want to be like applicable to us in the current times, but not, and then just conveniently leave out the things that, we can just say, oh, well, that was in those days. Obviously we don't do that, and that's not acceptable anymore. Well, but why can we only say that about those things, but not about other things, if that makes sense? So without going on and on about this, I would like to read the Bible and just like read it for myself and really truly understand. I've read the Bible before when I was in college, and that's been a very long time ago, so I wouldn't remember it. But I also think I just was doing it to say I did it and to just like zip through it and be like, hey, I read the Bible. But I really wasn't paying that much close attention to stuff. And I really want to like absorb it and take it in and learn something from it and I want it to bring me closer to God and Jesus, but I also want it to understand that it is a Bible written by men and prophets, and has a very, very, very long history of translations and things, and who decided to put what into the Bible and things like that. So anyway, I would like to do that. I want to read the Bible with intention and with really learning from it, and expanding my mind, so to speak, with the intention of growing closer to God. And I think it will, because I have, God created me as a person with my own thoughts and ideas, and I feel like he did that on purpose, because we are all made in God's image, and each as individuals, and he loves us. We're all children of God, and he loves us each individually. And he made us all to think for ourselves and to be intuitive and to love others. And I want to develop that in myself. So yeah, that's another thing I'm going to do. Let's see. anything else? I'm just going to try to, be positive. Oh, I also have the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, right? That's her name. I got that for Christmas. I asked for that for Christmas, and I got that for Christmas from Shay and William. And that's the next book I'm finishing, Atmosphere, as we speak. And that is going to be the next book that I read. And I'm very excited to read it. I've heard only good from it. I think I am a person who can absolutely benefit from this book because I am super uber sensitive and take everything personally. I've talked about this before, and I take everything on as like it's a criticism or judgment of me, and then I let it affect my mood and my self. I self-doubt myself. I let it get to me, and I think from what I understand, that's the basic concept of Let Them, is to just let them be who they are and think what they are. You can't control it. And so just let them be their person because you're you, right? So but I obviously she gets much more deeper into it than that. But I am really excited to start that and try to practice those things because I think I just have been, I'm playing with this. If you're wondering, if you're watching what I'm doing, I think that I've always just been that way, and I would like to free myself of that. I think it would just make me a happier, more pleasant, more positive, more ambitious, just, I don't know, calm person. So we'll see. We'll see by the end of this year whether I'm that. If I remember, I can watch this episode and see if any of this came true. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. This year is going to be very busy. Tim and I have a trip coming up in February where we are going to go to Yellowstone, and we're going to go on one of these it's non-snowmobiles, but it's like a snow cat shuttle bus, tour bus kind of thing, but it's like on tracks. So you go with a group of people, but it's all on tracks, and you get to go into all through Yellowstone just like in the snow, like as if you were snowmobiling. So that's going to be really cool. And then we're going to head down to the Jackson Hole, where they have this big elk refuge in the winters around, like in February, typically when the most population of elk comes, but like this huge elk population comes down because they feed them and they put hay and things out for, I don't know. I said hay, it might not be hay, but they put stuff out to feed them, and just hundreds, I don't know if it's thousands of elk, might be thousands of elk. We've seen pictures, and there's just elk as far as you can see. And then they give you, like, you can like ride little horse-drawn sleighs through the elk and stuff while they're out there, and it looks very, very cool. And so then we're going to spend a day or two in Jackson Hole, and then probably go to our house in Idaho for a little bit. And then also at the end of actually, hopefully at the end of January, I'm going to go watch my nephew Samuel play volleyball in Milwaukee. So I'm looking forward to that. Then in April, March into April, we are going to Idaho for a few weeks just to hang out at our house there. And then April 16th is when Kenzie and Matthew are due. So hopefully around that time, hopefully that doesn't happen until we get back from Idaho. So that's happening. Very excited, obviously, about that. I'm hoping to go to New York to visit Allie somewhere, maybe into May. Then we get into the summer, and in August is Jared and Maddie's wedding. In September is Lydia's wedding. And geez, I know by then there's going to be a million other things come up. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun, busy year. But hopefully me and my family and all my friends can keep ourselves happy and healthy and, just enjoy life. So yeah. And then on top of that, hopefully there's lots of great reality TV for me to watch and talk about on this little old podcast here. So a little bit about, what's supposed to be the premise of this podcast, which is The Bachelor, but also reality TV. I am very excited because Traitors season 4 starts tomorrow. I'm recording this on Wednesday. It's being released. So this is released on Thursday. So it starts tonight. I'm very, very excited for this. I've gone over this, I think, before, but I'm going to go over again the cast. The cast is Donna Kelsey, Lisa Rinna, Portia Williams, Dorinda Medley. Those last three, everyone who knows who Donna Kelsey is. Who, like, do you think that Donna Kelsey is going to have all the Swifties on her side, and like anyone that decides to vote her off, they're going to, like, you know, be struck down? I feel like that might happen. Lisa Rinna, Portia Williams, and Dorinda Medley are all Real Housewives. Colton Underwood, he was the Bachelor. Johnny Weir was an ice skater, but he's now like a commentator. Oh, Tara Lipinski was an ice skater too. Ian Terry, I don't know who that is. Rob Sesternino, he was, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's the guy from Love Island that like captured snakes. Mark Ballas is from Dancing with the Stars. Michael Rappaport is an actor, but he's also a Bravo super fan. So he's on Watch What Happens Live a lot. Love him. Candace Bissett, she is also a Real Housewife. Ron Fuches, don't know who that is. Kristen Kish is from Top Chef. Stephen Coletti, I know who that is, but I can't remember. Maura Higgins is also from Love Island, I think. Monet Exchange, I think that she's from RuPaul Drag Queen. Eric Nam, I don't know. Tiffany Mitchell, I don't know. Rob Roush, I feel like I should know. I think maybe he's from Survivor. Yam Yam Arocho. There's like 3 or 4 Survivor people. So some of those people, because I don't watch Survivor anymore. Anyway, it just seems like it's going to be a very, very great cast. I've heard very, very good things about this. I hear that Donna Kelsey and Dorinda Medley get into it because Donna Kelsey is saying that Dorinda is always drunk and slurring her words. I cannot wait for that exchange. So this starts tomorrow. Again, like I said, well, tonight, if you're listening to this tomorrow, which I hope you are. And Tyler said that he is going to watch it with me, and Tim watches this show too. Hopefully he carries through and continues to watch that with me. But Tyler said he is going to recap with me about Traitors. So we'll see if we can carry through with that. But I'm very excited for that. I think that Traitors just releases 1 episode a week. Am I right? I'm pretty sure that that's correct. So that I'm excited about. Also, this week starts the Valley Persian style, I believe is what it's called. Going to try to watch that. I never watched Shaws of Sunset. This was a Bravo show, and this is a Bravo show, so I'm not familiar with those characters, but I've heard only good things about this as reviews go. So I'm definitely going to start watching it and see how I like it. Currently playing is Real Housewives of Potomac, which this is not my favorite season. If you watch it, I'm not sure if you feel the same way. I also believe that this is my least favorite Real Housewives show. Although I don't know what it is about this season, but it just it's not drawing my attention nearly how it does in the past, and especially compared to other ones, especially compared to the other ones that are showing now, which are Salt Lake City and Beverly Hills, which I'm very into and enjoying both of those very much. That's just my opinion. Not going to recap a lot of those. They were on a little bit of a break, although Real Housewives Salt Lake City, I'm currently watching it and need to finish it, but this week's was the finale, and then the reunion starts next week, and I've heard that it's a very good reunion. I do know that Andy Cohen walks off the set, so it must really be pissing him off. Anxious to see that. And Beverly Hills, I always just like Beverly Hills. If nothing else, I just enjoy watching what they wear. I want to say Salt Lake City and Beverly Hills are tied for my favorite. And they just are. A lot of people are saying that Beverly Hills has gone downhill. Rachel Zoe is on this year, I mean, this season, and I love her and I love the addition of her. I was not real familiar. I mean, I was real familiar with her, but not really her personality. Love her. She is a fantastic addition to this cast. Hope she stays. Apparently, she was on before, but that was before I watched it because I don't recall her ever on. Also, there's rumor that oh gosh, uh, oh my goodness, she's on Orange County. I'm blanking. Is going to be moving to Beverly Hills. There's rumors that that could happen because of something that she posted. Why am I blanking on her name? Her husband's the unbotched. Good Lord, I'll think of it. Anyway, there's rumor that she might be moving to Beverly Hills, and people have been talking about that for a long time. I'll think of it. No reason I shouldn't remember it. One thing I'll say is that we've had the reboot of Vanderpump Rules with the whole new cast. I've watched like 2 episodes. I'm not into it at all. I just am not. I'm not into it. I don't know if they're just too young. I don't. I'm not going to continue to watch it, so I won't be talking about that. But I was kind of hoping I would enjoy it because the like age things really typically don't bother me because I was a huge fan of Next Gen NYC, and they're all very young. Um, and Love Island, like there's lots of shows I watch with 20 somethings and that I enjoy, but this one I just can't get into. So that's going to be struck off my list. Um, Real Housewives of Rhode Island starts this year. I am super excited about that. It's gotten really good reviews. I've seen the trailer is out and has been for a while. It looks really good. They look like relatable people. Ashley I. Canetti, who is Bachelor royalty, is on the season. I don't know if she's a friend of or if she actually is officially part of the cast, but she's on and was filmed. So I think that's super cute, cool. Again, my worlds colliding. We obviously have the season 4 coming up sometime. It's not been announced that I know of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which again, I'm assuming that will be being released fairly soon because on March 22nd is when Taylor's Bachelorette season starts, which is going to be on Sundays now, or at least the premiere is on a Sunday. We'll see if the whole thing are on Sundays, but so convinced that season 4 is going to be leading up to that. I've heard that they're already in the process now of filming season 5. So anyway, season 4 for sure, and Bachelorette we have to look forward to. I haven't heard when Rhode Island is going to be released. There's also 4 brand new shows that I have interest in. I'll go in order of interest that I have of them. The first is Age of Attraction. And as much as I talk about Nick Vile's podcast, I know he's very polarizing. I think you either love him or you hate him. And I don't say I always agree with what he said. And yes, he can definitely be cocky, but I don't know. I respect what he's done with his podcast. And very often I agree with his opinions. But anyway, he and Natalie, his wife, are hosting a reality show called Age of Attraction, a Netflix show, and they were asked to be hosts because there is a big, I believe he's 43 and she's 27, I think, Nick and Natalie, so they're a big age gap there, and so this show is like a dating show with people. I don't know the format of it exactly, but I know it's not like Bachelor format where there's just one guy and a bunch of girls. It's like I think there's young girls to old girls to older women, and then same thing with men, and they whatever, they match up with ages being far apart. Again, don't know the format, but that seems like an interesting format, something quite different. I know it sounds like it could be very cringy. They've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, and obviously they're going to say good things about it because they're hosting it, but I don't know. It seems like usually, like when Nick was the host of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I thought he did a really good job, whereas Stassi doing this past season was shitty. So I feel like he knows his stuff. we'll see, but I'm looking for, I don't know when all these are released, but these are all new ones. Then there's one called Love Overboard, which is produced by Alex Cooper, but hosted by Gabby Wendy. And it is also a dating show format, but from what I understand, it takes place like on a cruise ship, I believe. Um, I also have heard good things about it, that it's going to be really good. Then there is actually Fear Factor, which years and years ago when Fear Factor aired, and when Joe Rogan was the host of that. I don't know if that's where he got his start, but that's where I ever first saw Joe Rogan, and he was just a Fear Factor host. That's what I knew of Joe Rogan. I would have to do my research, but I feel like that's where he really got famous or got well known, is that show. That show was on for a long time, and I did watch it. Now it's going to be hosted by Johnny Knoxville, which I think seems like those two things go together very, very well, as far as, obviously because of his involvement with Jackass and people doing really like crazy, wild things. So that looks good. I feel like I'd like to watch that. And then the fourth one is called Ladies of London. This is also another Bravo show, and it aired. I've never seen it, but it was a show that was on, has already been on at one time a few years back, and I don't know why it was canceled, or I don't know the history of it, but it's coming back. And Carolyn Stanberry, oh, she's also on. Is she not on there? She was not on this list of people. Yeah, Carolyn Stanberry. I didn't read her name. She's also on Traitors. Sorry. She's also on Traitors, but she wasn't on that initial list I just read off. That's weird. So Carolyn Stanberry is also a Real Housewife of Dubai, although Dubai is not on anymore, but I love, love, love her. She used to be on Ladies of London when it was on before, but I do love her a lot. So that show's coming out. So I don't know if I'm going to have even time to record podcasts this next year, because between reality TV and, all the goings on of Natalie, I will see. Just kidding. I'll find time. But then we'll see what happens also with The Bachelor and what happens after The Bachelorette with Taylor Frankie Paul. That will be very interesting to see what all plays out and how that plays out. Will there be any more golden Bachelor and Bachelorettes? I don't know. I kind of hope not, to be honest. I hope they just they've jumped the shark, and I hope they stay in the ocean with the shark. So what else? I also want to watch Emily in Paris. That came out a couple weeks ago, and I haven't watched it. She's in Italy now, right? Right? I think so. I really haven't heard much about this season, but I did hear that it was renewed for season 6. Right? This is season 5. I also am a big fan of Mara Kingstown, which is like the antithesis of like reality TV. It's with Jeremy Renner, and it's a Taylor Sheridan show on Paramount Plus. But it is so good. It is so violent, and it is so dark, but it's very, very good. We just finished that season, just wrapped up, but it was renewed for season 5. And so, we are also watching a show that I had never heard of, but William and Shay had watched it, and they told Allie about it. Allie told us about it, but it's called Absentia. I think I'm saying that right. I can never get the word right because I hadn't heard the word before. But it's on Netflix, and there's 3 seasons. But it's not older, but it was it actually aired 2017 to 2020. And so it's like that much dated, and I believe it started on as a Prime Video series, if I read correctly. It's really good. It's kind of like a like a thriller mystery whodunit, but with lots of crazy twists. Highly recommend that one. I don't know, guys. I have been rambling on about a lot of stuff. I'm in 45 minutes. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? I'm trying to think of other things I'm watching now. How do I watch anything else? Young the Restless. I always watch Young the Restless. I don't know if you're fans of Young the Restless who watch Young the Restless, but I'll just say a few things. I'm liking Phyllis more. She's 60. Phyllis is 60. If you don't know, her birthday was recently, and I follow her on social media, and she's 60. My God, I wish I could look like that now, much less at 60. Obviously, she's not that having the menopausal weight gain. Jesus. So, I've become to appreciate her more. She used to get on my nerves a little bit because she overacts. I still think she kind of does, but I'm trying to appreciate her more. I can't stand the new storyline about Matt Clark. I think it's so dumb. Can't stand this whole storyline with, Victor taking down Jack, because that's been done 80,000 times. I'm liking Audra. I'm team Audra. I think Lily is kind of a bitch lately, and I am turning from not liking Lily as much to liking Audra more. Sharon. I always been a Sharon lover, and I still guess I like her, but she just, I don't know. She feels, I don't know. How do I want to say it? She's a bit annoying. Like, her character is a bit annoying. I feel like she overacts in her own way too. Like, I feel like a lot of the other people on the show know how to ad lib and like joke around and work like their own what do I want to say, their own personality into their character. I feel like she was said, this is what Sharon's supposed to be, and she will not deviate from that. I don't know. Like, when you watch Sharon and Nick joke around with each other, like, you feel like they're really joking around. When Nick tries to joke around with Sharon, it's like, she's just like, that's not in the lines. We're not supposed to do that. I don't know. It's weird. The new girl, Sienna, terrible, awful that they put her and Noah together. She could be his mom, and she's not even cute. Let's see. That's enough about Young and the Restless. I don't even know if any of you watch that. So, yeah, if you guys have any ideas about things that you would like for me to do this year on the podcast or things to talk about, I would just really, really, really love it if you would like leave me a review or a comment. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment there, or whether you're on my Instagram, leave a comment there, or, leave a review and say what you'd like to hear more of. I would just absolutely love and appreciate that a lot. Also, go and rate me. Give me a 5-star rating, if you will. It just helps me so much. Follow, subscribe, click whatever the good things are, I would like to do some more interviews this year with people that I can find that would have interesting stories. If I have time, I would like to do a lot. So we'll just see how the year goes. I don't want to set too high expectations with this, because this is kind of my hobby, and I can't take it too far because I don't have enough time to take it like to the next level. I feel like I don't have the time working full time and just other things that I would love to take this podcast to the next level. But, any help that you want to give me by recommending my podcast to other people or giving me topics you'd like to hear would be awesome. So, until next time, which I will definitely be talking about Traitors and the first episode. I hope you all have a great week, rest of the week, great weekend, and I'll talk to you next time. Until then, be calm, be strong, be kind, and be grateful. Bye.